How's it digging my shovels? This is Spade here, and today got a standard OU match against Dude Jr. And I just thought I would change things up a bit and post this a bit of an older OU match. And this is actually from the good old Tornadoes T era. Some of you guys may remember this team. It's kind of your standard rain team with the usual suspects. And speaking of suspects, at the time Keldeo and Tornadoes T of course were the suspects, and then Tornadoes T ended up getting the banhammer. And at the time I kind of just wanted to have the last ride with Tornadoes because it was pretty obvious that it would just get the banhammer, and it did. And looking at my opponent's team, it looks like we're gonna have ourselves a good old-fashioned weather war. So the main game plan going into the match is just try to win the weather war and then just clean up. And because I have the slower weather starter, I figured I would just leave with the Politoed, go from there. And this is a Choice Specs Politoed, and yeah, it's gonna destroy everything that just comes in. And he really has nothing to take a Choice Specs Hydro Pump. Certainly after Ninetales comes in, but it first has to come in. So that's the little trick right there. So gonna go for the Specs Hydro Pump and obviously bring down the Fortress down to its 30. He's gonna go for the spikes, and then he switches out into Ninetales, and I'm like, yes, but then Hydro Pump misses. So that is a bit unfortunate, but decided to go into Tornadoes T right here because the grass type move is kind of obvious, and then I just kind of wanted to scout what kind of Ninetales this is and then just go from there. And he goes for the Solar Beam, gets a crit, doesn't really matter too much. And because he has the Solar Beam, I'm free to go for the U-turn and then just go back into my Politoed to set up the rain. But because he does go into Fortress as a Death Fodder, it would be kind of pointless to go into Politoed because he could just go back into Ninetales to set up the Sun again. So instead of Politoed, I'm just gonna go into my Ferrothorn, and I was just kind of hoping to bait out the Darmanitan because this Ferrothorn does have Protect, so I could scout what he's gonna lock himself into, either the U-turn or the Flare Blitz, and then just play accordingly from there. And he does go for the Flare Blitz, so I'm just gonna go into Politoed because that's really the only thing I have to take a hit from this thing, because in the Sun Flare Blitz is gonna hurt unless I obviously have the rain up. And so I go into Politoed, but still the Flare Blitz does almost half considering he has spikes up, so that looks like a Choice Banded Darmanitan to me. And yeah, it hurt a lot more than I thought it would. But I decided I'd just go into my Tentacruel because I want to get off the Rapid Spin. Because I just knocked out his Fortress, so he has nothing else to... by the team preview looking at it, he has nothing else to set up hazards. So I'm just gonna get rid of those spikes before they get annoying. And I'm gonna have a entry hazard free battle for the rest of the match on my side. So that is pretty nice and special. And he went into Ninetales to set up the Sun again, and then he's going to go into his Venusaur as a Rapid Spin. And then I decided I would just go into Tornadoes as a Sleep Fodder, because looking at it, Tornadoes is not really going to be able to do too much before I'm able to win the Weather War. And Ninetales is still at full health, so I thought the best thing I could sack for the Sleep Fodder would be Tornadoes T. And he actually goes back to Ninetales as I go into Politoed, and I'm like, Hydro Bump time, but he goes with the Sunny Day, and I missed the Hydro Bump again. Even in the sun, it would have done just so much damage. But Hydro Bump really doesn't feel like hitting for me today, or at the time when I had this match like several months ago. But it was just kind of funny. Keep on missing those Hydro Bumps, then I go into Tornadoes just to be able to switch back into Politoed, but he crits the Fire Blast, so I died. Not really sure if that mattered. I don't really think it did, because it's a sun boosted Fire Blast still. But yeah, it's just kind of funny that yeah, Tornadoes got critted on the both times it came in by the Ninetales. But finally I do end up hitting the Hydro Bump, and it does like 98%. But still, that's not good enough, and he does go for the Sunny Day. So I'm just kind of gonna be forced to switch out, and he actually goes into his Cresselia. So I'm like, Cresselia, toxic, now. So that's what I'm going to do, but he's gonna go into his Darmanitan, and this is a bit scary because the sun is still up, and I really can't switch to Politoed because he was already able to do so much damage to my Politoed. So I just stay in and look at this damage. He almost knocks me out in one hit. And that's the power of choice banded sun boosted Flare Blitz. And yeah, leave that with 11 HP from full. Holy moly. Does way too much damage, and I'm just gonna stay in because I really don't want anything else to take a hit. So yeah, just gonna go for the Scald, but he actually goes into his Venusaur. And the interesting thing is that the sun fades away, and now he doesn't go for the grass type move to knock me out. Instead, he goes for the sleep powder, and I'm just gonna stay in because at this point there's really no point salvaging Tentacruel, or at least I thought so. But since he doesn't go for the grass type move, I was like, maybe he has Solar Beam on this thing too. And since he keeps going for the sleep powder, I was like, maybe I can actually salvage my Tentacruel and then just go into Politoed as a Death Fodder, and then just go back into Tentacruel and then get the Rain Dish going on. So that was kind of the game plan. I do end up getting the nice Scald burn on the way out as I was just spamming the Scald, which is kind of nice. Getting the residual damage on that Venusaur with leftovers. But yeah, just gonna go back into Tentacruel, but he switches out into Ninetales, and I was like, maybe I can outspeed him and take him out, because he does still have leftovers, so at the time I wasn't really sure what kind of set he was running, but he does still outspeed me, so he gets to go for the Hidden Power Ground, and knocks out my Tentacruel. And so I'm just gonna go back into Politoed again, just to set up the rain, and then I decided I would just go into Keldeo, because obviously in the rain he cannot do anything to me. But obviously he's gonna set up the Sunny Day, and I was just really thinking that he wouldn't want to sack his Ninetales, and he would switch out, so I was like, hey, I'll just go back into Politoed to set up the rain again, and then just switch out again, and go from there. But he actually stays in, so I could have knocked him out with the Secret Sword, or Surf, or whatever. But I just didn't think he would stay in, but he did, and I was like, damn, could have had the Weather War right there. So, yeah, but the interesting thing is that he actually goes for the Solar Beam, and in the rain he's forced to charge it, so I can actually go safely into Toxicroak. And what I really should have done in hindsight now is just try to keep the momentum going on and just went for the sub right here. But I was just like, okay, he may just predict the sub and then just go for the Sunny Day and then switch out, and I would just lose HP due to the dry skin. So I just went straight for the attack, but he just sacks his Darmanitan, and then he brings out the Alakazam, and it obviously has the Focus Sash, but I'm just kind of forced to break it, and this is what really makes late game Sash Alakazam dangerous, because it's able to take that one hit and then just destroy you with its powerful hits. But yeah, go for the Sucker Punch and bring him down to his Sash. And then I decided I would just go into Ferrothorn, because I just kind of want to set up those late game rocks for the Ninetales, because it just got a bunch of health back from the leftovers, and yeah, I just really want to whittle it down the best I can. So gonna set up those rocks because I knew I should be able to take one hit, because he's Focus Sash Alakazam, doesn't even have the Life Orb, any kind of boosting item, and then I figured he's gonna go for another attack, another Focus Blast, so I can go into Keldeo, but it actually turns out to be a Focus Miss. So yeah, do get to knock him out with the Surf, because this is a Choice Scarf Keldeo. So down goes the Alakazam, so at least Toxicroak did something for the team. But now in comes the Cresselia. I am fearing the Psychic, and I know Surf will not one-shot or even two-shot this thing, because it's a freaking Cresselia. So I'm just gonna go back into Ferrothorn, and he actually goes for the Toxic, so whatever, works pretty much the same. I can take it easy. And then I'm just gonna go for the Lead Seed. If he goes into Venusaur, we are still in the rain, although now he goes back into Ninetales, and that's kind of what I just wanted, because this is why I set up those rocks, because if the Ninetales comes in, it's pretty much as good as dead. And because I went for the Lead Seed, he's not recovering any health, meaning that he cannot switch out, or he can, but he's just gonna die off the rocks. So the Weather War is technically mine at this point. And then I just decided to protect. He actually still lives the Lead Seed after the leftovers, so I was like, hey, he's gonna die this turn, so I'm just gonna go into Politoed right here, set up the rain and win the Weather War, except he makes the awesome play and goes for the Sunny Day before he dies. off to the lead seed. So he's still gonna have Sun up for a few more turns, for like 5 turns or 4 technically. But that was a really good play on his part, and now he's gonna be able to bring in that Chlorophyll Venusaur yet again, and I'm just gonna be forced to switch out, and I'm gonna go into my Ferrothorn as he does predict that nicely. Goes for the Hidden Power Fire right off the bat, knocking me out. But would have been nice to go into Keldeo, but then again I could not have outsped him because of the Chlorophyll, and then there was the fear of a Grass type move. So Ferrothorn was something that I could lose at this point, but Keldeo is something that I need necessarily to win this match, so it wasn't really worth the risk. Even trying to play it like that, like going into Keldeo and then potentially switching into Politoed to set up the rain and stuff. But anyways, the interesting thing is that he doesn't try to knock out my Politoed as I bring it in. He just goes directly into his Cresselia, and I'm just gonna stay in because I can definitely take hits from a Cresselia, and I just wanted to wake up at this point. So do finally wake up, and turns out the only attack he has to hit me with is Ice Beam, and I wake up and I get off my own Ice Beam because I just locked myself into Ice Beam earlier against the Venusaur because I thought that would be the best course of action against the Venusaur. And I was like, if I manage to actually wake up against it, might as well go for the Ice Beam because didn't feel like going with the Hydro Pump anymore at this point with the Politoed. But he actually goes for the Toxic. Actually is going to play a bit of a role in a moment, but yeah, he decides to start stalling me out with the Moonlight, and even in the rain, cutting down the power of Moonlight by half, he's still gonna be getting more health than I'm able to do to him, so there's really no point staying in because I'm gonna lose this stall war, definitely. And so I'm just gonna go into Keldeo and just gonna go for the Hydro Pump, and in the rain it should at least be a 2-hit KO, and it looks like it, but he has the Lunar Dance, and I was like, no way. There's no way. All the work that I just put in, whittling down the Venusaur, had the Scald Burn even to wear it down. Now all that is lost, and the Venusaur is practically back to full health, and I just couldn't believe my eyes. And I was like, wow, what's gonna come out of this? But then he's gonna go for the Sleep Powder again, and remember at this point he hasn't shown a Grass type move yet. So I was like, does he have it? And it looks like he doesn't, or most likely he has the Solar Beam, much like with his Ninetales. But that is definitely going to cost him at this point, because I can just go for the Ice Beam. And now the interesting thing is that because he Toxic'd me earlier, he cannot put me to sleep. So I can just go for the Ice Beams, and even with this next HP Fire, because it is in the rain, he's not going to be able to knock me out. And Politoed is actually able to get the victory here with the Ice Beam and take out the Venusaur, and that will be the game. So yeah, that will be the match for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely had a lot of fun with this one. There was a lot of momentum shifting going on. Had some bad luck at the beginning with those Hydro misses, and then at the end there was Cresselia pulling off the Lunar Dance like out of its arses, and I was like, wow, how did this happen? But then it was kind of funny that because I was running Hydro Pump over Surf, it really cost me, but because he was running Solar Beam over like whatever Grass type move like Giga Drain or Energy Ball on his Ninetales and Venusaur respectively, that really cost him, or at least I'm assuming that he had a Solar Beam on the Venusaur, because it wouldn't really make any other sense, because he already had the Solar Beam on the Ninetales, so it would only make sense. And he never really got an opportunity to really use it, because there was the Weather War going on throughout the match, but that was something that really cost him, and those Hydro Pumps were really costing me. So that's the good old argument about running a move that's more reliable over something that's less reliable but with more power. So like Surf over Hydro Pump, and Giga Drain or Grass Knot or Energy Ball over Solar Beam. So there's the good old argument with that, and there was definitely something to it, and it really cost both of us in this match, and it really led into an interesting ending. So yeah, anyways, I think I've said enough of ramblings for today, and I don't really know what I'm saying, but it was just really interesting finish for the match. But yeah, just want to say thank you again for watching, and until next time, this is TheFlamingSpade signing out. Peace.